think it's safe to say that not too far from here, almost a rather long stone's throw, the Garden Street project. I think the folks who were behind that project were probably the first ones to tell you that I was instrumental and recognized, in fact, from my that project become reality.
No, the only question I had was because everything seems to be turning around about tax credits. When prevailing wage issues come along, New York State and both houses, the Assembly and the Senate, we seem to find a way to work around prevailing wage laws.
Yep.
And we're constantly using federal tax credits where nobody's gaining from these projects, especially not the working people of the Hudson Valley.
Well, you may be speaking in terms of a portion of the equation. If you look to what Governor Pataki has done, for instance, with project labor agreements, I mean, the governor embraced them. There were those who opposed them. It was the governor who basically said, I support project labor agreements. I mean, you may not get the entire length of what you would like, but I think it would be unfair to say that this administration or this legislature, both houses, has not been cognizant of and trying to be responsive to the needs of organized labor. Prevailing wage certainly is a given. It's something I can remember appearing before this group several years ago, in which the question of enforcement of prevailing wage was of great concern. Well, we've toughened laws on enforcement of prevailing wage. We've raised penalties for those who would violate bookkeeping. We've attempted to provide more people for purposes of inspection. I think it would be unfair to say that somehow or other, the needs of labor are being ignored. You may not be getting everything that you want, but it's certainly not being ignored. And what has occurred over the course of the past half a dozen years here in the Hudson Valley and really in this entire state has been rather dramatic.
I want to limit the follow-up question. Gene has the right to respond to that question before we go on. Actually, twice, if you want to respond twice.
Which I would like to. I think that the passage, to try and respond to your question a little bit differently, the passage of legislation is only part of the battle. I think the other part of the battle is if you have an elected official, that official should take some positions on important issues. And one of those important issues is prevailing wage. And I believe that if, as a public official, as an elected official, you align yourself with a particular issue to assist in raising the awareness of the public as well as of everybody of that issue. And I think that is an important function of being an elected official.
One more question. The gentleman doesn't want to ask over there? No. Go ahead. Rodney.
Just a comment, or I'd like a response from both of you, Senator. First, it's my opinion that any prevailing rate violations, I believe that you have made a comment over the past half dozen years that things have changed dramatically. Any prevailing rate violation and or conviction and or penalty has not been because of the enforcement of prevailing rate by government. It's been the follow-up work of the local unions that are out there trying to protect their jobs, protect their workers, and the prevailing rates that they have to deal with every day and are fighting for. It's my opinion that it's not local government, it's it's the government after the unions do the initial work.
That's certainly something worth taking note of. I can only tell you that over the course of the past couple of years, whereas several years ago I would receive several complaints over the course of the year, I don't think I've had one in 2 years. So if I'm not getting any complaints, why would I think? And I get thousands, literally thousands of letters and phone calls. I maintain 3 offices. I don't think in the past 2 years I've had one prevailing wage complaint in any of my offices. And I do know that we've, again, provided additional inspectors. I do know that we've toughened up the laws. And I would have thought it was reasonable to conclude that the combination of those factors, as well as the vigilance of union members who are concerned, has had an impact. I don't know if you could have one without the other.
Rodney, I think part of your question goes to governments, and just correct me if I'm wrong here, governments kind of going along with prevailing wage violations? Is that what your question is? That they're condoning
It's
it?
more of the government's inability to enforce it. The inspectors that are out on the job sites now are not state-paid employees. They are employees of separate firms that you'll see them out there, I've seen them out there, working right along with the contractor with a shovel in their hand or a broom in their hand or consulting outfits. They are not, you go out there anymore, you will not find a state-paid employee, possibly a resident engineer on the job. That's something that has to be addressed as far as my opinion is concerned. Excuse me?
Members of my union that was laid off a few years ago. The inspectors, the labor inspectors.
Okay.
The labor inspectors who are private should not be out there doing the inspecting. It should be state employees, because they've got a job to do, and they'll do it, and they'll be less susceptible to payoffs.
I'm going to cut off the questions, and we'll then have closing statements, because we've been on for a while here.
My goal in running against Mr. Saland, who has been a very effective legislator, has been to create some changes, and the changes that I'm seeking to create are in the areas that we discussed tonight. I am very pro-labor. I come from a labor background, and I come from a union background, and I believe that the unions have been the backbone of this country. So I thank you very much for your time tonight and for your consideration.
Thank you. I too want to thank you again for the opportunity to participate in this forum. Certainly things, as I mentioned earlier, in the state of New York have taken a turn in a positive direction over the course of the past half a dozen years. And while it hasn't been easy, and while at times it has been difficult, if not painful, the fact is that I think most people would agree that New York State is heading off in the right direction and has been for quite some time. We've managed to accomplish a lot of things working together, whether they be in the area of education, as I mentioned earlier. Gene made some reference to healthcare reform. The first of this coming year, HICRA 2000, which is the first of its kind in all 50 states, which is going to greatly expand Family Health Plus, is going to enable small businesses to secure insurance and individuals to obtain insurance. Price tag of about $9 billion. That is going to be a major healthcare initiative. For those who happen to be senior citizens, Epic Plus, again, a very dramatically enriched prescription drug program for senior citizens. So while the federal government may, to some extent, be paralyzed by these issues, the state has been endeavoring to deal effectively with these issues. We will continue to try and make New York a place that's economically viable. It's good for you. It's good for all of us. It's good for homeowners. It's good for our entire economy. I enjoyed, as I said, my service in the state legislature. There certainly are a number of issues that remain to be resolved. I would welcome the opportunity to be part of resolving those issues, and again hope that I have the good fortune, after you've completed your deliberations, to have your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
made that decision because I could no longer stand by silently and watch Sue Kelly consistently vote against the interests of the people in this district. She's been wrong on education, she's been wrong on environment, she's been wrong on veterans, and she's been wrong on labor. I grew up in a labor union household. My dad worked as a uniformed firefighter and also as a postal worker, was a member of the National Association of Letter Carriers. My mom was a member of the National Association of Social Workers, a social worker. And also, I teach American government right here in Poughkeepsie at Dutchess Community College. And because of that, I've had the opportunity to introduce a whole new generation of young people to public service, talking about issues like labor unions. Just several months ago, we were talking about the whole debate over the 99-year privatization of what was going to happen at Stewart Air Force Base, Stewart Airport, and the whole issue of where people stood on the fact that they were not going to allow labor unions there initially. But let me tell you a little bit about my past. I'm a graduate of public schools in White Plains. As you know, this district runs from White Plains to the farthest southern point up to just beyond Poughkeepsie. Because I had a great education in the public schools of White Plains, I was able to go on to Princeton and Harvard Law School, which I was able to help pay for through my writing and other odd jobs. Many of you may know me through some of my writing, but what I'm most proud of is the 3 books that I've written on labor issues and the 4 books that I've written on education issues. I'm also proud to say that it was my annual survey that I began in 1991, where I looked at the hiring practices